CP mentorship in the youth committee. They are like computer science and something, but he's not. I'm so glad. He's so passionate. He joins anything with history, and he comes to me in Alviso, and we had a little walk over there. We went to the cannery, and he said, okay, I want to do this. I said, yeah, I have all the resources that you can use to do this. And here we go, after 1 year of the study and research and making phone calls to different people and reading in the library, newspaper, and everything. Here we go, Greg, who make this happen. Let's have
So I first visited Alviso about a year ago, where my mom works at a company called Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which is, the building is right over there. And so one day she didn't trust, and so yeah. And right behind the building is a bridge, and then the bridge leads to Alviso. And then I just found Alviso so beautiful because it's so different from the rest of the Bay Area. You know, the rest of the Bay Area is full of, you know, Apple Park, a whole bunch of buildings, which has charm in its own way, but Alviso is certainly unique. And so after some quick research, I found out that Alviso, you know, has a very rich history, very important in the development of the West Coast, which is very cool. And then it was through this research that I stumbled upon the name Thomas Foon Chew. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I should look into him. And immediately I had a lot of questions. And so, you know, you search up Thomas Foon Chew, you get, you know, fabric-based canning company, third largest canning company, you know. But that just left me with so many questions, like, what was his childhood like? How did he found the cannery? What was his reputation like in Alviso? And, you know, 25,000 people attending his funeral. Why did that happen? And so, and as I began to explore deeper, I realized that the answers to all of these questions were very eye-opening and inspiring. And so, again, as Gloria mentioned, he emigrated to the United States during a time where anti-Chinese sentiment was at its all-time high, and which only makes what he was able to accomplish later all the more impressive. And he made several good business decisions, was very innovative, willing to experiment. And there was this story about how there was a bunch of people who protested that he was hiring other immigrants besides white people, but he refused to give in to their demands, continued to hire a very diverse workforce, which is very impressive. And above all else, I interviewed Richard Santos, and I also interviewed a local historian by the name of Lynn Rogers. And both of them told me they said some different things, but the one thing that was consistent between them was that Thomas Foon Chew, above all else, was respected, revered, and well-liked by all members of the Alviso community. As mentioned before, he provided free water to them at a time where water was scarce. He provided Alviso residents jobs and opportunities, no matter their background, and he provided them hot meals during a time of great economic strife. And so all of this was very inspiring to me. But there was a problem. See, I go to school at bases independent Silicon Valley, and above all else, it is a STEM-focused school. And so I was talking with my friends, and none of them knew who Thomas Foon Chew was. They knew who Mark Zuckerberg was. They knew who Steve Jobs was. They knew who Bill Gates was. I was like, oh, you guys know who Thomas Foon Chew is? They were like, who? And so, yeah, and that's sort of concerning to me, because I feel like Thomas Foon Chew's story can be used as an inspiration for all. And so I'm actually making a documentary about Thomas Foon Chew in order to preserve this legacy and inspire the future generations. And so today, I'm really happy to see that Thomas Foon Chew finally has his own holiday to honor him, and it's even more exciting to see so many people show up. And I hope that Thomas Foon Chew Day can be used to inspire the future generation and have them follow in his footsteps of being a
with CP mentorship. We are also recognizing Thomas Foon Chew as one of the pioneer families here in the Santa Clara Valley. We're going to be at a conference in Marysville on March 1st, along with 12 other Chinese American museums in Northern California, and he is one of our nominees. So before we get on to questions and answers, I wanted to recognize from the Office of Assemblyman Patrick Aaron, we have